So welcome to the second part of our jQuery HTML manipulation. So part 2 now is about setting values. So jQuery set content and attributes. So the set content is similar to the get content. So we have text, HTML, and val, and also attribute or attr. We will use the same three methods used to get content to set content also. So the text set or returns the text content for selected elements. HTML set or returns the content of selected elements. So this includes the HTML markup. And val sets or returns the value of form fields. So here's an example. So if you're going to look at this document, we have here a paragraph with an ID test1 and another paragraph, so P/P. So P with an ID test2. And then we also have an input field with an ID test3 with value Mickey Mouse. And then we have here three buttons. So if you click on set text, if you click on this button, this event will be fired or triggered. So, and what will this do is to set the text property of this ID to hello world. So this is the text property, will be replaced by excuse me, hello world. While if you click on this button too, and this event will be triggered or fired, and then this will replace this content into hello world, but this time around with the bold markup. And then for button 3, if you click on this button, it will change the value of this input field into Dolly Duck. So this is the initial output of the code we have a while ago. So this is a paragraph, this is another paragraph, input field. So we have here our text box, Mickey Mouse. So once we click on these three buttons, the output will be something like this. So we have hello world, so that replaces the original text, and we also have hello world, but this time in bold field, and for the input field it will be replaced to Dolly Duck. So that will be the output. A callback function for text, HTML, and val. All of the three jQuery methods above, text, HTML, and val, also come with a callback function. The callback function has two parameters: the index of the current element in the list of elements selected and the original or old value. You then return the string you wish to use as the new value from the function. So again, you return the string you wish to use as the new value from the function if you use the callback. So here's an example. So again, this is similar with, oh sorry, where's my code? Okay, so again, this is quite similar, but we have here two buttons. We have button 1 and button 2, and if you click on button 1, so this is button 1, it will show old and new text. So if you click on the button, we have here text. So instead of the text outright, so instead of the text at once here, we have a function. So this is the callback function, and the callback function takes two parameters, the index and the original text. So the original text will be placed here. Then with the open curly brace and close curly brace, and the return value will be the new text of this element. So the new text will be old text plus the original text, so whatever the original text is, plus and the new text hello world, index, and then the index value. So that will be the new text. So we just concatenated the following values, which are the old text, the old text, and then the original text with this content with this place in this particular variable here, then this string again, and then the value of I, and then we have close parenthesis. So the same is true with button 2. So if you click on button 2, so this will trigger this event, and this will replace the HTML of test2. This is test2 HTML again. So instead of writing the HTML code here, we have a function. So that's the callback function. And again, the callback function takes two parameters, the index and the original text. Then open curly brace, close curly brace, that ends the callback function. And the value that you return will be the new text value or HTML value of test2. We list the old HTML plus the original text plus new HTML hello world index and then the index value. Okay, so before we click on the buttons, if you run the program, this will be the output of the program. So this is a bold paragraph, this is another bold paragraph. Then we show old and new text, show old and new HTML. So once we click, after pressing both buttons, so this is the return value, return, this is a bold paragraph, new text, hello world, index 0. Hello old HTML, this is another bold paragraph, new HTML, hello world, index 0. So show old or new text. So this will be the output if we click on both the buttons. Now we also have set attribute, so ATTR. The JQuery ATTR attribute method is also used to set or change attribute values. So if we're going to look at our code here, in our body we have paragraph and then we have an anchor or a link with href is equal to this one with ID w3s and w3schools.com /a/p, and then we have the button change href value. So mouse over the link or click on it to see that the value of the href attribute has changed if you want to do that. Because we can add, sometimes it depends on the browser. Okay, so if we click on the button, what this will do is it will change the href property and it will change that to https www.w3schools.com /jQuery / it will add some sort of a subfolder. And there is also a callback function for a attribute or the ATTR function. The JQuery method ATTR also comes with a callback function. The callback function has two parameters, the index of the current element and the list in the list of elements selected and the original or old attribute value. You then return the string you wish to use as the new attribute value from the function. So similar with the three previous functions or methods. So example, we have here an example. So if we click on the button, so we select this ID and we change the href attribute of this ID, but this time we use a callback method. So function, we have the index and the original value, and then return rig value plus and then jQuery. So we use the rig value here. So in this example, if the user clicks on the button, the href attribute of the element with an ID w3s will be changed to its original value and appended by jQuery. Another example, so the ATTR or the attribute method also allows you to set multiple attributes at the same time. So to do this, here's an example. Excuse me again. So w3s, we select that ID, that ATTR attribute, open and then close. Then if we have multiple values, we should enclose it in close and open curly brace. And then we have here href colon and then the value, title colon and then the value. So we're changing two attributes here, href and title, and these are the values that will be assigned to these attributes. So let's now try to have a live example. Let's look for my, now I think this is the program we have a while ago. So instead of show, let's just type set, for example, set. Then maybe here also set. Here let's say set. Okay, so we're going to change this. So This was also taken from the example a while ago, but let's try to replace that. So this time around, instead of getting the values, we set the values. So the first one is to change what? ID test. I think we need 2 paragraphs here, so we have test 1 and test 2. Anyway, we'll be changing that, so let's just leave it that way. So we have test 1 and test 2. So if we click on the first button, we're going to change this text. So how are we going to do that? We select that particular element. And how do we select that element? We can make use of the ID, so that we are sure that we're only referring to this element. So the ID selector starts with a number symbol, and then we have test 1. So that text, and then we have here our text value. Let's say hello world. And then for the next one, the same, but this time for the second text. So text, or test 2 rather. Test 2 dot HTML. So let's say in boldface, Vietnam word. Okay, let's try those 2 first. We run the program. So this is our text. We have the heading here, and we have the 2 paragraphs. So if you click on this, there. So we have now changed the text property and set HTML. So there, you notice this one is in bold face, because with HTML we can place also tags. So let's try to replace this both. But unfortunately, we cannot see the other. We can see the href below. So if you click on the third button, so we're going to change what? The value of this. So the ID is name. So we have here name dot val. Then we change that maybe to so what's the old value? Mickey Mouse. We change that to Donald Duck again. Okay, and then the attribute. So what's, we have ahref, so we have only one A, hopefully, but that's dangerous because we're not using the ID. So attribute, so href, say for example we have here https youtube.com/Eudz Silang. Okay, so we have changed. We're going to here, if you click on the third button, we're going to change the value of this text box. So the ID is name. And for the fourth one, so since we have only one anchor here, so we can use A, but again this is quite dangerous because once we add another A, then we might be referring to the incorrect anchor. But here we'll be replacing href with this value. So let's try to refresh this one. then set value. So you notice from Mickey Mouse it was changed to Donald Duck. Then here, if I mouse over, you can see below my screen on the lower left side there are href. So it says here webdev.ul.edu.ph. If I click on set attribute, then I mouse over this again, you notice that it is now referring to https youtube.com/Eudz Silang. So I was able to change the attribute. Okay, so let's try one with a callback. So if you use a callback, instead of that text we have a function in which we have two parameters, an index and maybe the rig value. So then open and close. Then we return the new value. Rig value. Let's say just that one. So that will be our new value. So the whole string will be the new value for test 1. I hope I placed the correct syntax. Okay, so let's try. Refresh. So if I click on set text 1, so original value, this is some bold text in paragraph. The new value, hello world. So the whole will be placed as the new value for the first paragraph. So that's an example with callback. Okay, let's go back to the code. So that's the code. So that ends my demo, and thank you for viewing this video.